Hi everyone, I'm author Jennifer Lynch and I'm coming at you today with 5 tips to help you develop a daily writing habit. I used to daydream about becoming an author for years, and it wasn't until I really started to hone my craft and work on developing a daily discipline that faraway goal started to feel like something I could actually accomplish. So if you're anything like me, I want to offer you these 5 tips because I know from experience that they will help. Tip number 1 is classic. You will hear it everywhere. And the reason for that is it works. It comes to us from Julia Cameron and her book, The Artist Way. This book is chock full of incredible advice for anybody with any kind of creative endeavor, but the one that I want you to focus on is the morning pages. And the idea behind that is every day, as soon as you wake up, you grab a pen and a journal, you handwrite long form, very important, no computers for this, and you just write, stream of conscious, pen to paper, nonstop for 3 full pages. This is not going to be good writing. It's really not intended to be. There's zero chance of it sounding good, looking good, anything. That's not the point. Think of this as releasing all of the junk from your brain. Get it down on paper so that you don't have to think about it anymore. The way that I think about it is trimming the fat, not the good, juicy, delicious bits, but the unnecessary weight that bogs me down. It might not feel comfortable at first, it might be tremendously difficult in fact, but if you stick with it, it can be a really incredible practice. Tip number 2 is to start keeping a dream journal. My brain goes to some of the most fantastic places while I sleep, and what I have found in waking up and immediately writing down and describing those places and those things that happened is it really helps me believe in the creative power of my own brain. A really important part of discipline is confidence. If you don't have the confidence to believe that you can be a good writer, why would you ever try to build the discipline it takes in order to do so? So this practice of thinking, oh my goodness, like my brain just came up with that. That's amazing. Writing it down, getting used to bringing those memories and those ideas and all the details and description back, it's a really, really helpful practice, and it boosts confidence. So tip number 1, morning pages. Tip number 2, start a dream journal. And if you're going to do a dream journal, it's imperative that you have a journal, a pen, and a nightlight right at your bedside. You have to write these things down as soon as you wake up. You will not remember them halfway through the day. Tip number 3 builds on that, and it's about taking notes all day whenever you come up with any kind of good idea. It can be 2 words that you think sound good together. It can be a description of something that you're looking at or thinking about. It can be the whole plot line for a 6-part murder mystery. Who knows? Whenever it comes to you, write it down immediately. So this could mean carrying a journal and a pen on you at all times, but it also could mean just using the functions on our phones. We have these incredible phones that can do so much for us these days. So often what I'll do, if I think of a sentence that I just really like the sound of, or something that I don't want to forget to write about, I'll text it to myself. Back in August, I was on a really long bike ride in Ireland. So I was out there, riding 70, 100 miles a day. I'm pedaling. And if I came up with something, I gotta remember to write about this mountain I just passed, I would stop and text it to myself. And if it was really long, then I would use the video function on my phone and take a video of myself just saying it out loud. And that would just help me keep that idea fresh. So number 1, morning pages. Tip number 2, start a dream journal. Tip number 3, take notes all the time as soon as you have an idea. Tip number 4 comes to us from Jerry Seinfeld. I recently heard him talking about his own daily writing practice. And what he does is he gets one of those really large form calendars. He rips out every month and then he tapes the entire year to his wall. So now he's looking at the whole year in one shot. And what he does is every day that he sits down and writes, he takes a big black Sharpie, puts an X through that day. I have found this to be an incredible visual motivator. It's really kind of silly how hard I will work to earn my X's. And for me, getting an X at the end of the day takes a lot more than just writing. I'm currently training for an endurance event, so I have exercises that I have to do every day. I live at a pretty high altitude in Colorado. It's very dry, so I have a certain number of ounces of water that I need to drink every day to feel healthy. I like green juice, all these kind of things. And having that visual mark that I have accomplished this is incredible for discipline. This is not for, public consumption. This is just for you. I've got mine up in a corner in my bedroom, and I work really, really hard to get those X's. So, tip number 1, morning pages every day. Tip number 2, start a dream journal. Tip number 3, take notes all the time, every time you come up with an idea. And tip number 4, Jerry Seinfeld's big X calendar. So really the intention behind that is that at the end of the year you're going to have 365 X's, and this is going to be an incredible accomplishment. You're going to feel amazing, right? So that leads us into tip number 5. Tip number 5 is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but I want you to stick with me on it. The idea is this: every now and then, not often, not once a week, but occasionally, when you really need it, give yourself a break. Take a day off. Writing is supposed to be a wonderful experience. It should be enjoyable. It should crack you open in a way that allows you to share incredible stories, thoughts, insights, and beautiful things with your readers. And while I very strongly advise you to take your craft seriously and build your discipline, I also want you to be smart about it, and I want you to love what you're doing. So there you have it, 5 tips. Thank you for sticking with me. Check me out on Instagram at author Jennifer Lynch, facebook.com/author Jennifer Lynch, and please check out my blog, of course, jenniferlynch.wordpress.com. Sending love and light.